I haven't done Big Ten power rankings on this show. I think there are more interesting ways to approach the topic. I do know what my top 10 Big Ten teams are. Illinois is number 4. This may sound crazy to some of you, but I've got Penn State number 1, Ohio State number 2, Oregon 3, and yes, Illinois, the Fighting Illini, number 4. I'm not saying this just to gas up everybody in Champaign, but they should feel pretty gassed up going into this year. Did you know that last season, Illinois won 10 games? 10 games. That's just the 5th time in program history an Illini football team has put together a double-digit win season. That's not a feat that you see very often. Bret Bielema was rewarded with an extension through 2030 for his time. That makes plenty of sense. It's, agents own athletic departments and ADs on an annual basis in a variety of sports at schools at all sorts of levels all across the country. That's the way the game is played. But guess what? Bret Bielema just had a really good year. So yeah, he turns that into a contract extension. He's making over $7 million per year. It's hard to say there's pressure on Bret Bielema to win this season because when you're Illinois and you're still trying to get up to the level of, Penn State even, who they were competitive with last year. But are you in Ohio State? Are you in Oregon who just won the Big Ten? No, they went to Oregon last year and got trounced 38-9. So they weren't really there. But why would I have Illinois 4th? Because who in the world am I putting over them? I think Indiana's lost too much. I think Michigan's 1 year away from being back to what they were in the Jim Harbaugh era, where they were winning Big Ten championships and competing for national championships. They lost a lot from that defense. They still have some good players. I still have some questions about Michigan going into this year. I think they're a good team. I don't know that they're a great team. And by the way, Illinois and Michigan played last year. Illinois was a better football team. So this is I'm not in a place where Illinois, in my head, has to prove they're better than Michigan. No, they did that last year. They proved they can play with the Wolverines. They just did that. Now they have to prove they can take a step forward. And the exciting part about this, for returning quarterback Luke Altmyer, who's one of the reasons I like him. The Illini, by the way, 3rd in college football with a returning production rate of 76%. When you return over 3/4 of your production from a team that won 10 games last year in the Big Ten, I'm going to like you. I do like Illinois. Their win total, according to our friends at FanDuel, 7.5. We're going to know if they're capable of hitting that over right away. I mean, right away. Because they get a nice little tune-up game against Western Illinois, the Leathernecks, as they are known. And that game won't be close. We will not have a North Dakota State upsetting Colorado thing here. That's not going to be a thing. Here are the next 4 games. And this is where we're going to know if Illinois is ready to play at least somewhat big boy football this year. At Duke, that's a tough game. Duke won 9 games last year. And they've got a new quarterback, Darian Mensah, the Tulane transfer who had a great freshman season. Then they play Western Michigan. All right, that'll be a win. Then they go at Indiana and host USC. If Illinois, who should be a preseason top 25 team, if Illinois comes out of their first 5 games, I think 4-1, frankly, should have them ranked. But if they're 5-0, look out rest of the Big Ten, because they might mess around and because of a tiebreaker wind up in the Big Ten championship game. This is not a crazy thought. Again, that's an if. That's an if, because the 5-0 start won't just be, a stretch that gives you a win over Indiana and USC in the head-to-head. It will be a stretch that proves to me and others, including I think themselves, they are capable of playing Big Ten championship caliber football. And we'll know for certain what exactly they're capable of on October 11th at home against Ohio State. I don't think Illinois will be unbeaten at that point, but as long as they have 1 loss or fewer, that could be a potential college game day weekend. I don't know that that's likely. I don't know if game day's even been to Champaign, Illinois before. But you look at the back half of this schedule for Illinois, and again, if they get through the first half and the Ohio State game and they have 1 loss, and it's to Ohio State, I tell you what, at Washington, Rutgers, Maryland, at Wisconsin, Northwestern. Where's the game that you don't feel like they're capable of winning? It's not on there. Doesn't mean they'll win them all. Washington will be an improved team. Playing at Wisconsin November 22nd, that's never an easy thing to do. Ask Oregon how easy that was last year. They darn near lost that football game. Very easily could have, despite being ranked number 1 and undefeated at the time. So the schedule for Illinois, I think, is really, really interesting. But the question that I have for the Illini is on Bret Bielema and also on Luke Altmyer. Are those two guys ready to step up and elevate Illinois football to a place it has not been, I guess, since last year? But if you think I'm crazy for suggesting this, ponder this question in your mind as a college football fan. How would you feel if you put last year's South Carolina team, or frankly this year's South Carolina team, who's an incredibly popular, understandably so, with Lenore Sellers back there, dude's an absolute baller. How would you feel putting South Carolina in the Big Ten with a schedule like this that does not have Michigan on it, that does not have Oregon on it, that does not have Penn State on it? You miss all of those teams and you get Ohio State at home. That could be one of the biggest games in Memorial Stadium history there in Champaign. I hope regardless of what Illinois' record is, I think it'll be well over 500. The question is, will they have one loss or two? I think they'll have one. But at Duke, home game against Western Michigan, at Indiana, that's a tough stretch. That is a tough stretch. But if you get through those first 6 games with one loss, and Ohio State, who's probably unbeaten at the time, unless they've lost to Texas already, the Buckeyes coming to town, I tell you what, that could be a special day. That's the sort of day that I'd want to go to, just as a college football fan. If you don't know what Memorial Stadium is capable of, why don't you look up some of their biggest upsets over the years? They got plenty of fans, probably more than you think off the top of your head, and that environment can be really good. Really, really good. And that could be an all-time day. So I'll just let you know publicly, I'm rooting for Illinois to make that game awesome. I want the fans of the Illini to have that chance, to have Ohio State come into town and have a chance to prove what Penn State's been trying to prove for a decade at this point, that they can hang with the Buckeyes, that they can play with them and go out there and beat them. This is a veteran Illinois team. This is a very talented but less experienced Ohio State team. You've got them at home. You will have gotten into a good groove. You keep everybody healthy, go 5-1, 6-0 in the first half of your schedule, which is hard but very doable for Illinois. They're a sleeper team for me in the Big Ten. And by the way, if they're undefeated going into that game, they don't have to win it. They could still wind up in the Big Ten championship game because tiebreakers are super fun. I know we all can't wait to get back to that sort of stuff because that'll mean the season's back. 3 months away, roughly.